Hello guys and welcome. In this video we'll be talking about whether or not the upcoming patch, namely 6.2, will be the final patch or at least raid tier for this expansion. Now, the short version is yes, I do believe there's something about this expansion coming to an end that's true, but let's look at a few things that's pointing to the end of Warlords of Draenor, shall we? The first reason to believe that 6.2 is the final patch is as simple as this. I've heard people talk about how Blizzard have stated that they'll try and keep expansions, or at least this one, at 2 patches and then move on. I do believe this to be true, as they stated at BlizzCon 2013 that they would try and get expansions out a lot quicker than they've done in the past. So I don't find it unlikely that they'd keep the expansions around 2 patches if they were only going to last for 1 year. Like they talked about, their goal was to pump out an expansion every year, more or less. So that is the first reason to believe that 6.2 will be the final patch. Simply that they want the expansions to be shorter so they can get more expansion out a lot quicker. The other reason to believe it's the final patch is the bosses and the voice files taken from the PTR. Now, this is where the spoilers begin. So if you don't want any spoilers, you might want to turn off the video right now. However, if you're like me and you're a curious fella, and you'd like to know everything there is to know, sit back, relax, and enjoy my theories. Let's start by looking at the new and improved dungeon journal from the 6.2 PTR. See that? The last boss is Archimonde. Archimonde! At BlizzCon 2013, Blizzard stated that Grum's Hellscream was going to be the last boss fight. Now, keep that in mind, will ya? But people everywhere was like, "Dude, I hope they pull a Burning Crusade where Illidan was the final boss, but the Sunwell was the final raid, with Kil'jaeden being the final boss." And this was the response. "Yeah, but instead of Kil'jaeden, let's have Archimonde this time. No tree, no nothing to interfere, just players versus him. That way Kil'jaeden in all his glory can still be a boss in our reality, as this one isn't pissed that we flushed his torso back down the Sunwell toilet." And I completely agree. There's even been a couple of hints hinting to this ending, like the toy that shows Archimonde plotting stuff. Now, I know I said that Blizzard have stated that Grum's Hellscream was going to be the final boss, so how can Archimonde be the final boss of the expansion? Well, at first people thought Blizzard was just joking, but later they actually stated that they were serious. It wasn't just a joking answer. But there's been leaked some sound files that proves my theory. Listen to this.
"They are besting you, demon! Finish him, heroes, that I may drive that cursed axe down his throat and cut out his fell heart. My thanks to you. Now, leave me. I have a trophy to carve. We will never be slaves. I will have your skull for my helm when I next face your foul legion."
I don't know about you, but to me he doesn't sound like a bad guy, calling us heroes, saying,
"Leave me. I've got a trophy to carve."
So, he's not the final boss, but he is in the final encounter. Well played, Blizz, well played. If you've been on my live stream, you'd know that I've always seen Grum as some sort of Warlord character, and the legendary questline cutscene with Gul'dan and Grum, where Gul'dan says like, "Your iron will is legend. I will enjoy breaking you." I instantly thought that there'd be 3 obvious outcomes of this. Either Gul'dan would actually break his iron will, and Grummash would just sit there panicking as he sees his iron hoard fall apart, and he'd finally drink the demon blood. Or he'd drink it, but only use its power to kill off Gul'dan or some sort of demon. In this case, it would be Archimonde, as he now is the last boss of the raid. Or he'd simply sacrifice himself without the blood. Now, according to the sound files, it's one of the last 2. We don't know if he drinks the demon blood yet. It's not certain, but it doesn't sound like it. But on the other half, I don't know if you can hear when someone drinks demon juice. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. but it sounds like he'll definitely pull a Warlord 4 dragon and sacrifice him so that we can continue being the heroes of Azeroth for future expansions. Lol. And for those of you who don't know who Warlord 4 dragon is, he's the guy that gets tortured by the Lich King but just refuses to break.
The breaking of this one has been taxing. The atrocities I have committed upon his soul. He has resisted for so long, but he will bow down before his king soon. I will never serve you!
Now, there's also been a Khadgar voice file that I'd like to include that also hints the end of this expansion. And at first I thought it was another clue, but it turns out it's actually just a vision in the Kilrock Deadeye encounter.
It's good to see that you survived that last assault. But when the Burning Legion makes its final push, they'll wipe us out. It's been an honor to fight by your side all these years, but our strength was not enough to save Azeroth. Before we meet death, let's send a few hundred demons screaming back to the twisting nether.
As I said, this sounds really bad, but it's just a vision Kilrock has that shows your demise. And now, for those of you saying, well, that's Grum out of the picture, what about Gul'dan? Well, don't you worry, I have an answer for you as well. In your garrison, you can get a monument if you complete the legendary quest line and get the legendary ring. The monument is basically Gul'dan and Khadgar going at it. Now, there's a couple of sound files from the legendary questline as well. They basically shows how Cordana Felzone, Khadgar's weird partner, goes crazy with power and ends up taking our ring for herself.
Books of power, books of knowledge, books written in the language of chaos. Don't you worry, child. All will be destroyed. Now, give me your ring. Give it here, then I will take it from you for the glory of Gul'dan. The orb of dominion spoke to me. I saw the truth. Khadgar is just a child, swaggering around, torturing his prisoners, playing with lives, dabbling in magics he pretends to comprehend. Such is the power of the Legion. Very well. Walk away. Nothing will stop Gul'dan, for the Legion stands behind him. Mark my words, your leaders will betray you. Azeroth will burn.
You face the might of the Burning Legion.
As far as I know, we basically enter and take the now empowered legendary ring for ourselves. And yeah, well, basham, it's legendary now, which also hints to the end of the expansion that our ring is complete. Now, I think there's more to the story than just that. I'm imagining something like Khadgar and Gul'dan going on each other, taking each other on, or being trapped in an alternate dimension, fighting each other for all eternity, or at least fight each other in the end. And if not, Gul'dan might go into the next expansion like Garrosh did, and then that might lead into a Burning Legion expansion, but that's a whole new video we're getting into right here. And I will make a video about that at some point, namely, what is the next expansion after Warlords? At least, what do I think? But yeah, that's just my take on it. With Blizzard's sales strategy and all the voice files and bosses combined, I think we're heading towards the end of Warlords of Draenor. Besides that, it would fit perfectly with BlizzCon coming up in around November. And that would fit perfectly with these new time-walking dungeons, where each weekend, or not each, but some weekends you go back into some old dungeon from Burning Crusade or Wrath, and you do some stuff there. That would fit perfectly with BlizzCon, so that when you run out of dungeons you can do each weekend, the next expansion will be announced. Besides that, it seems to me like they're adding Tanaan Jungle now, as this expansion's take on Timeless Isle, and yeah, as I said, time-walking dungeons for a couple of weeks, so we'll stick around till the new expansion is announced at BlizzCon 2015. So they're basically throwing everything in right now, in this patch right now, so I can't really see what else they would do as a major content patch. Well, the Tempest Keep is still out there, and Khadgar called it, in our reality, he called it down, he was the one summoning it, but still, I kinda doubt it. Maybe some sort of filler content, they'll add that, maybe even the Tempest Keep, but I don't really see it as a major content patch. I really don't. They've also stated with these new time walking dungeons that instead of adding new content, they'd rather make the old content that they already have more appropriate and more interesting. Hints to the new mythic dungeons. But yeah, as I said, I really hope there's gonna be some sort of filler content, so we won't up raiding the same tier for an entire year. Cough cough, Siege of Orgrimmar cough. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. Will 6.2 be the final patch of Warlords of Draenor? You're always welcome to leave feedback in the comments or leave a like or subscribe. As always, thanks for watching and have a beautiful time.